Now, types of firewalls. Now, software-based firewalls and hardware-based firewalls and virtual-based firewalls. Software-based firewall and hardware-based firewall and virtual-based firewall. What is the software-based firewall? What's the hardware-based firewall? What's the virtual-based firewall? Let me discuss. Now, firewalls, what it does do? Firewalls filter the traffic. Filter the traffic. Now, which traffic is flowing to the firewall? Let's assume it's a firewall. Now, it's a firewall. Which traffic is the flowing to the firewall? It filters the traffic. It scans the inside of the packets. It filters the traffic as per requirements. Now, filter means, what is the filter? May you allow the traffic, may deny the traffic, may configure, monitor the traffic, may configure authentication, may configure authentication. Now, action would be depends on organization requirements. May allow the traffic, may deny the traffic, monitor the traffic. No, won't allow and deny. Just allow the traffic, monitor the end user traffic. Authentication means before access the resources. Before access the resources, user should be authenticate. User should be authenticate. That's the filter. Now go. Software-based firewalls. Software-based firewalls. It filter the traffic. Software-based firewalls filter the traffic, but lot of limitations. Lot of limitations. Take software-based firewalls. There's Windows firewall, antivirus firewalls, and IP cup and IP firewalls. Now, take example is antivirus firewall. Go antivirus firewall. Here it's antivirus firewall. It's antivirus firewall. Here it filters the traffic based on application rule. Now, here we can configure to the application rule. It's all are my applications. As per my application rules, I configure to the rules here. Network traffic in and out. Now here untrusted applications. Now here go any application. If you want to take action, here go deny or allow or permit or log event. Now anything should configure it. Now, so software based applications. Now go configure packet rules. Now based on the packet rules, you can configure it. Now go based on the packet rules here. DNS over TCP. Nowadays it's a new service, DNS over the TCP, DNS over the UDP. Now here direction, inbound direction, outbound direction. Now here edit. Now should configure to the as per our requirement should configure to the edit packet rule. It's a software based firewalls. Now it's all a software based firewalls. Status is active. But if I want to edit, I can configure anything remote desktop edit. Now here inbound or outbound. Here inbound, outbound, inbound and outbound. Here now action is allow or black or application rule. Now here status is active or not. Okay, it's all our save the configuration also. Now if you want to add any rule, here add any rule, add packet filter rule. Now network rule number. Now it's some software based firewalls. Go networks. Here it visible the networks information, complete networks information. Now if you want to edit, here go edit the interface. Okay, it's a software based firewalls, but it filters the traffic with a lot of limitations. Antivirus firewall. It's the antivirus firewall. Now IP cup and IP fire is open standard firewalls. So open standard, open source firewalls. Some organizations prefer to use IP cup and IP fire firewalls. Now go. Now IP cup firewall. It's a IP cup. It's an open source firewall. Now it's an open source firewall. It filters the traffic. We install the one system, just one system. Now it's an open source firewall. Now configure the firewall rules and IP fire also. Now IP fire is a good firewall. Now IP fire firewall. Okay. It support VPN. It support Wi-Fi, and it support application inspection. Now here, what are the features? Go features and support stateful inspection. Stateful inspection. Later we'll discuss about what is the SPI stateful inspection, and it supports the VPN. It has a intrusion to intrusion prevention and IPS and IDS devices also. You can configure IPsec VPN also. VPN with the open VPN. Open VPN means you can go with the DDYNS. Open VPN with IPsec, here tunneling, backup, printer, lot of features in IP firewall. It's an open source and a free firewall. Now it's a software based firewall, but it has a lot of limitations in production scenarios. It's not sufficient in production scenarios. Now go hardware based firewalls. The hardware based firewalls. The hardware based firewall, the dedicated hardware. It's a dedicated hardware. Under dedicated hardware installed OS. Under dedicated hardware installed OS operating system. Now it's a hardware based firewalls. Now where it deploy? Hardware firewalls, where it deploy? It deploy inline mode. What's the inline mode? Now inline mode means very simple. All traffic, all incoming traffic and outgoing traffic flowing through the firewall. This mode is called a inline mode. Inline mode. All incoming traffic and outgoing traffic flowing through the firewall. That's called a inline mode. Now, it's a dedicated hardware device. Under dedicated hardware device, they install the operating system. Based on a vendor, operating system has changed. Let's take FortiGate Firewall. Now, FortiGate Firewall, they installed FortiOS. It's a Linux-based OS, but the code is the same, but they modified the base source code. Now, FortiGate and Palo Alto One OS. Now, Checkpoint, they install Gaia OS. Now FTD, they installed FXOS. Okay, it's a based on a vendor, operating system has changed. Now based on a vendor, operating system has changed. Based on a operating system, based on a vendor, features has changed. Now it's a dedicated hardware device. Under dedicated hardware device, install the operating system. Now it's a hardware based firewalls. Now virtual based firewalls. The virtual based firewalls. Now virtual based firewalls, where it deployed? Virtual based firewalls is deployed in clouds, private clouds and public clouds. Virtual firewalls deploy private clouds and public clouds. It deploy private clouds and the public clouds. It protects the clouds against the attacks and against the suspicious activities, and it inspects the each and every packet. Okay. Now it where it deploy AWS and Azure and ESX and OpenStack and Salesforce. Lot of public private clouds, Google Cloud, okay, deployed on clouds. No need to hardware. No need hardware. Based on a OS. Based on a OS and license. Based on a OS and license deployed. It protect, it works. So virtual based firewalls. Nowadays, some organizations prefer to use the virtual based firewalls in the clouds. Same, everything. What you have launched in hardware, virtual also same, but it doesn't have any hardware. But once it doesn't have any hardware, but based on an operating system, it runs. Now, it's a virtual based firewalls. Now, based on a traffic filtering mechanism, firewalls falls into two categories. Based on traffic filtering mechanism, firewalls falls into two generations. What are the two generations? One is first generation firewalls and the second generation firewall. First gen firewall, another one is second gen firewall. First gen firewall and the second generation firewall. What are the differences between first generation firewalls and the second generation firewalls? Now, how they falls? Based on a traffic filtering. Based on a traffic filtering, it falls into first generation firewalls and the second generation firewalls. Now, go first generation firewalls. First gen firewall. First generation firewall. Filters. First generation firewall filters layer 3 and layer 4 and layer 7. It filter only 3 layers. Based on a layer 3 means IP, host, network, and range. It filter the traffic. Layer 4 means IP, TCP, UDP. It filter the traffic. Layer 7 means based on services and based on services. Now HTTP and HTTPS, it filters the traffic. Now the second is the first generation firewalls. It filters only layer 3 and layer 4 and layer 7 traffic. Now what about the second generation firewalls? Now for second generation firewall, Now, second gen firewalls. Second generation firewalls. Filter traffic, layer 3, layer 4, layer 7. And it filters URL filter. URL filter. So URL filter. Now, how does it work? URL filter falls into three categories. What are the categories? Three categories. URL filter falls into three categories. One is static URL filter. Another one is based on a content. It does filter the traffic. And based on a customization. Based on a customization, it does filter the traffic. What is a static URL? Now, static URL means a single URL. Let's assume it's a facebook.com. The facebook.com. Now, based on a facebook.com, it filters the traffic. Filter means may allow or may deny or may monitor, may configure the authentication. Should we take any? Actually, depends on the organization requirements, not you and me. Okay. Now, it's a static URL, but a static URL is not sufficient in production scenarios. Why? Because in the web, we have millions of the web websites. Based on a millions of the websites, how do you filter static URL? It isn't possible. But it's a possible some scenarios. Use it a wildcard forwarding and based on a single URL, based on a wildcard forwarding a production scenario. But it's not sufficient. Now go content based filtering based on a content. Based on a content means defaultly firewall vendor has all website categorized 30 to 40 categories. 30 to 40. Now, so it depends on vendor of the firewall. All websites categorized into 30 to 40 categories. Based on a category wise, you can configure to traffic. Based on a category wise, let's assume your social networking sites, and media streaming sites. And hacking websites. Just I took three examples: pornography, some web files, some dark web, a lot of websites. I took only three examples. Now, say content-based filtering based on social networking sites. Now, what are the social networking sites? Now, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And let tell me one more site, Twitter, Sala, social networking sites, dating sites. Now, say as per category wise, you should configure to the actions. Now, you can filter the traffic based on a category wise. Now, it's a content based URL filtering. Customization is very simple. Customization is very simple. Let's assume your organization having 5 websites. It's a your organization own organization websites. Now, except 5 websites should allow only 5 websites. Now, all websites should drop the package. It's a customization URL filtering. As per a requirement, your organization having how many websites? Only 5 websites. Should allow only 5 websites. Except 5 websites, you should drop the all packets. It's a customization URL filtering. It's a one feature in second generation firewall. Now, let's go one more feature based on a users. Traffic filter based on a users. Let's assume the topology. Now, firewall, WAN network, and LAN network. In our LAN network, now we have 2 types of the employees. Now, here users, now employees team and admin team. Both are in LAN network. Now here you can configure the policies based on a users groups. Config policies now based on a user groups. Based on a user groups. Now how they configure the policy? Now employees could be access 80 and 443 and 53. Now admins would be access all resources. Now that's the scenario. Now configure the policies based on a users and based on a user groups. Now it's a configure the policy based on users and user groups. Now it's a one more feature. Now let's go one more feature. Now configured policy based on a endpoint devices. Based on a end devices. Based on a devices means configured policy end devices. Now let's assume it's a firewall. Now it's a WAN network and it's a LAN network. And in this scenario, now we have devices based on a devices. How to find the devices? Based on a MAC addresses. Based on a MAC addresses. Can configure the policies based on a MAC addresses. You can create device groups. Now here PC1 and PC2, PC1 and PC2. Let's assume now in the scenario PC1 needs to access only limited resources and 53 is the PC1 and the PC2 needs to access all resources, means all services based on a services. Now how to configure the policy? Now based on a MAC addresses. Based on a MAC addresses. Now based on MAC addresses and create device groups also. May have multiple devices, create a device group. Now, based on a MAC addresses, based on a device groups, we configure the policies. It's a one more feature in second generation firewalls. Now let's go configure one more. Now what's the one more option? Now based on applications, filter the traffic. Based on applications, it filters the traffic. Applications means let's assume the applications. Now applications means now it's a Facebook. It's a Facebook. Now it's a Instagram. Now means based on applications means layer 7 traffic. Based on a layer 7 traffic, end user traffic. It's a end user traffic. It's a layer 7 traffic. It's the end user traffic. Based on end user traffic, filter the based on end user traffic, filter the traffic. Now it's a one feature. May allow or deny or monitor, configure authentication. It's a depends on organization requirements. You should be take any action. Now it's a based on applications, you filter the traffic and go. And another option is micro applications. Based on a micro applications, filter the traffic. Micro applications, filter the traffic. What are the micro applications? In the Facebook, we have a lot of micro applications. Facebook chat, share, and like, and comment. Now, and games, Here also Instagram also multiple micro applications. Means the scenario traffic filter based on applications and micro applications. Now it's a micro applications. Traffic would be filter micro applications. Means now user could be access base application. It's a base application. User could be access Facebook, but user couldn't access chat, share, like, comment, and games. It's a customize which micro applications will access, which micro applications will not access. It's all our customization. Now just to configure the policies based on applications and based on micro applications. Configure policies based on applications and micro applications. Now let's go. It's a second generation firewall. Let's go. Now first gen firewall features. Now layer 3 and layer 4 and layer 7 traffic filter the first generation firewall, and second generation firewalls. Second gen firewalls filter layer 3, layer 4 and layer 7, and based on a URL filter, and based on users, and based on end devices, and based on applications, and based on micro applications, it filters the traffic. Micro applications, it filters the traffic. Now what are the first generation firewalls? What are the second generation firewalls? First generation firewalls are ASA firewall. So only ASA is the first generation. Cisco ASA is the first generation firewall. Second generation firewalls. What are the second gen firewalls? Now FortiGate and Palo Alto, FTD, and Checkpoint. So all are second generation firewalls. Okay. So first generation firewalls and second generation firewalls. Let's assume any organization. What are the best security practice? What are the security features they want? You can take any organization. They implemented multiple firewalls and multiple security features. It depends on the organization. Now let's go. In our FortiGate firewall, available two types of appliances. Now it's available virtual appliance and physical appliances. Virtual appliance and physical appliance. The dedicated physical appliance means it's a dedicated firewall. Under dedicated firewall, they installed which OS? They installed FortiOS. FortiOS. Now, virtual firewalls don't need to dedicated hardware, deployed on clouds, deployed on private clouds and public clouds. It protects the threats against the clouds. Now, it's a FortiGate. Let's go. Our lab topology is very simple. Now, it's a firewall, WAN network, and LAN network, and DMZ network, and we have dedicated management interface. Now, what's the IP addresses? Now, it's my WAN network. It's my Cisco router. My WAN directly connected to Cisco router. Cisco router connected public network. Now, my management IP address is 160/24. 10.7.1 and 60/24. LAN IP address is 192.168.101 and /24. WAN IP address is 192.168.100 and 60/24. My DMZ address is very simple, 10.2.0.145/24. Now I have 3 DMZ servers. How many DMZ servers I have? 3 DMZ servers. Now here server 1 and server 2 and server 3. Now what's the server IP address? 10.2.0.11.22 and 33 is the DMZ server IP addresses. Now I have one LAN PC. It's my LAN PC. What I configured in my firewall, I should be check output in my LAN network. Now I configure through management interface. Now I should be check output in LAN PC. So LAN PC address is 192.168.101 and 100 and /24. Now set topology. Now we are using VM version. We are using VM. Now let's go. Let's configure the VM as per our topology. Now you can configure, you can access firewall 2 ways. One is console, one is GUI. Firewall could be accessed 2 ways, console and GUI. Now first go console, configure management IP address and WAN IP address. First config management IP and WAN IP through console. After through GUI config the all another interfaces IP addresses. Now first should go use VM. Now just import, just accept. Yes, VM imported successfully. Now let's go edit the mission settings and go bridged interface. It's first one is the management interface. The management interface. Now second one is WAN interface. Bridged interfaces means WAN interface means it directly connected to our Cisco router. It has 10 interfaces. My appliance has 10 interfaces. Now first one is management, second one is WAN, third one is LAN interface and DMZ interface. As per my topology, I configured 1, 2, 3, 4 addresses, but we should configure one more address for DHCP server. Now go DHCP server, should configure one more interface for DHCP server. Now let's go. Now in our LAN network, we have one more interface. Now that interface is the DHCP configured. Now here, now it's a LAN interface. It's a DHCP now interface. Here it's a DHCP server configured. Now here, what's the IP address? IP address is 172.16.254 and 1/24. Now it's a DHCP server interface. Now go configured management, WAN, LAN, DMZ, DHCP. Configure 5 interfaces. Okay. Now go power on mission. Now, what's the username? Default username is the admin. We didn't have any password. Default username is the admin. Now, how to configure? It's a bit on Linux based operating system. Now, how to configure interface IP addresses through the console? Now, where am I in? I'm in console. Now, how to configure interface IP address? First, you should configure management and WAN IP addresses in console. After, we'll configure all interfaces through GUI. Now, go how to configure interfaces. Now, go config system interface. First, you should enter the interfaces. Now, edit which port do you want. Now, I have 5 ports. Now, port 1 is the management interface. Now, which IP address you want configured? Now, go IP address, set IP 192, sorry, 10.7.1 and 60, 25, 25, 25 and 0, 25, 25 and 0. It's IP address. Now, which services do you want to allow on following interface? Set allow access. Set allow access. Which services do you want to allow on following interface? It's a management interface. Allow now ping service, HTTPS and SSH and SNMP and HTTP services. Yes, finish. End the configuration. End the configuration. How to verify the configuration? Show system interface. It visible the interfaces information here. 10.7.1 and 60 is the management interface. Now it visible the management interface IP address. Now go configure the WAN interface IP address. So WAN interface IP address is 60, 192.168.160. Now configure the WAN interface IP address. Now config WAN interface IP address is very simple. Now go same config system interface, edit port 2, set IP is the 192.168.160, 192.168.160. Now 255, 255, 255, 0. Set allow access and the configuration. Show system. So system interfaces is the 10.7.1 and 60 or 192.168.160 configure management interface and WAN interface. Now let's go access firewall through GUI. How to access firewall through GUI? So very simple. Now go ten, 7, 1 and 60. It's a management IP address. Yeah, it's a firewall GUI. It's a FortiGate firewall GUI. Let's go login. What's the default username? It's the admin. Yet I didn't configure the password. It's a go. Username is the admin. Enter. So firewall GUI. So firewall GUI. Now first you should configure the password. How to configure the password? Now here go admin. Here change the password. Admin change the password. Now configure the password. No password. Default it didn't have any password. Now password is configure the password and configure the password. Now okay. Itself it log out because why? I configure the password. Try to log in admin. It didn't log in. Why? Because I configured the password. Now just I logged into firewall. Now this scenario, after I configure the IP address, first you should configure the IP address as per my topology. Now go network under network interfaces. Here, which interface I configured? Now, management and WAN interface I configured. Let's configure LAN interface. Now, how to configure the LAN? Select interface, interface 1, add the decryption. Now, is the management interface, the management. Okay. It's the WAN interface. Now go LAN interface. How to configure IP address through GUI? Select the interface and edit. Name of the interface is the LAN interface. Now go IP address under IP address and subnet marks. Now 192.168.101 and 1/24. Configure the /24. 255.255.255.0. Now, which services do you want to administrative access? Which services do you want to allow on following interface? Just enable only ping service. Okay. It's a port 3 interface. Now, port 4 is a DMZ. Now, let's configure the port 4. Now, it's a DMZ network. It's a DMZ network. Now, what is the DMZ IP address? Let's go configure the DMZ IP address. Now, 10.2.0.145 and config the 255 and 0. Just enable ICMP service only. Okay. And configure the DHCP server. Let's configure the DHCP server. Select the port 5 and configure the DHCP server. Now go edit. Sorry. Edit. Now DHCP server. DHCP server. Now, as per my topology, 172.16.254 and 1 and configure IP address is 255 and 0. Just enable ICMP service. Ping service means ICMP service. Okay. Later we will configure. Later we will enable the DHCP server on interface. Just I configure IP addresses. Now, as per my topology, I configure the IP addresses. Now here my firewall needs to access internet. Yes or no? My firewall needs to access internet. Now here, as per my topology, it's my WAN network. Here WAN it's a WAN interface. It's a router. My router address is 192.168.100 and 1 is my router address. Write one default route to router. Write one default route to router. Write one default route. Now, how to write the default route? Here, how to write the default route? Before, here, if you want to access console, here go access the console. Here, it's a console, firewall console. Now, here go execute. How to check ICMP? Ping is not work. Try to ping 4.2.2.2. It's not work. Should use execute. Before ping should be used the execute. Ping and 4.2.2.2 is not reaching. Now our firewall is not reaching internet. Okay. Now try to access execute ping 192.168.101. So my router, WAN router. Now firewall is reaching to WAN router. Now configure the default route. Configure the default route from firewall to Cisco routers. How to configure the default route? Now let's go very simple. Under static route, under network, under static route, write one default route. Now how to write the default route? Go create new Now, default route means 00 means any IP, any subnet box. Which interface? Select the WAN interface here. Select the WAN interface. Now, gateway, what's the gateway? Gateway is my router address 192.168.100 is my router address. Okay, I configure default route. Now go console. Now ping, execute ping 4.2.2.2. Yes, firewall is reaching to internet. Yeah. Now go system, configure the basic settings. Go system, go settings. Now host name, change the host name. Now host name is the class 7. Here current time and date and time zone. Select the time zone is India. Now, select may have any NTP server in our organization. You should configure NTP server. Now our firewall date and time signal is the NTP server. Now go default port numbers. It's a ideal timeout. After 5 minutes, itself it log out. Just change the ideal timeout is the 400 seconds, 400 minutes. Now go here. If you want to language, here you can go elect language and theme. Language and theme. Here theme red and blue or any other maroon and go green. As per requirement you will be elect. It's a basic system settings. Now I'll go apply. Now apply. Here go. Hostname has changed. Hostname has changed. Now it's a basic configuration in our Fortinet appliance. Now how to check the backup? How to take the backup? Yeah, very simple. Go administrator. Here configurations, backup and restore. Have two options, backup and restore. One more option is the revisions. Now backup and restore. How to take the backup? Just go configuration, take the backup. And where do you want to take, local PC or USB? May insert USB, it visible. Now password should go configure the password. Now it's a password. Just okay. Now here backup has downloaded. Okay, now go admin configuration revisions. What is the revision? Revision means just it's a save the configuration state in our firewall. May if you want to implement any configurations, might be we will face any issues, after just revert the changes. It's one more feature. Configuration save the changes. Configuration has saved into firewall. Now how to configure the revert the save the changes? Here save the changes. Now here comment is the base configuration. Now go okay. Now might be I configure some policies, anything. Might be any issue will arrive. Might be any issue, just revert the last configuration. Now let's assume. Now go static routes and elect the static route and delete the static route. Yes, I deleted. Now go console, try to access internet. It doesn't working. Now go and go configuration revisions. Revert the last configuration. When I was take the configuration, just revert the last configuration. How to revert the last configuration? Elect the configuration, revert. Yes, revert needs to reboot. Yes, go reboot. Now, last configuration has been reverting. Yeah, go log in and check. And go network static route. Here it's the default route. And go execute and ping 4.2.2. It works. It's a revert the last configuration. Now, how to restore the configuration? Go backup, configuration, restore. Here, upload, elect the file, and restore. Elect the file and restore. Go. Now, just now I downloaded one configuration. It's our firewall configuration. Show folder, under folder it visible. Just cut and paste into desktop. Here, class 7 backup. Now let's go firewall. Now delete default route, same static route, and password, and delete default route. Now go restore the old configuration. Go configuration, restore, upload, and upload class 7. Here class 7. Just now I took backup. Elect backup and password. When I was take the backup, I configure the password. Should be configure the password. Should be enter the password. Now go OK. Now just restoring global system settings will cause to device reboot. Now OK. Okay. Now backup has been restoring. Okay. It has been rebooting. Takes time. Yeah. Now login, username and password. Verify network and default route. Here it has a default route, and verify revisions. Here revision. Now it's a default route. So backup and restore and revision and the default route configuration. It's a basic configuration in our Fortinet appliance. Now we'll continue tomorrow class. Might be a few more people will join. We'll continue tomorrow class. Yes, does it clear? Hello. Hello. Yeah. So clear? Yeah, Kaja. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow class. Okay. May have any doubt, let me tomorrow. Might be.